All right, so the last part of our demo for today, I'm going to show you guys how to sharpen your image and how to do that with best practices, with professional practices. The first thing I want to do is save this as an entirely different file. This is going to be the sharpened version of our cabinet card. So I'm going to say File, Save As, call it the same name, but sharpen at the end, very importantly. Cool. So this now is a totally different file that I'm working on, and I have my progress saved on my original with the edit. So the first thing I need to do is combine all of my layers into one. So I'm going to say merge layers, and then I'm going to duplicate my background layer, and this is going to be the background sharpen layer. And I have to do this if I want to sharpen this correctly. So now I have my background sharpen layer, which is a duplicate of my background, which is the copy of all of my layers. That was a destructive edit and a necessary one for sharpening and sharpening alone for that final output. So now that I have my background sharpen, I'm going to go to Filter, Other, and I'm going to pick High Pass. A high pass filter is going to read the data of my image and determine all of the areas of contrast which look like they could use some sharpening. So you're noticing it's pulling, of course, the edge, it's pulling the eyes, it's pulling the tie, the dark tie against the white shirt. And I can pick how intense my sharpening actually ends up being. I definitely don't want to go like this. It's not going to look quite right. It's not quite enough. I just want to find that sweet spot where I can see just enough detail that pops out those areas of contrast. And I'm going to hit OK. So now it looks a little bit funky. But I'm going to come over here and grab a blending mode on that layer. And generally speaking, you want to either use overlay, soft light, or hard light. Hard light's going to make that the most intense. I would suggest not using that. Soft light is going to give it sort of a softer look. It's the least intense, and overlay is sort of somewhere in between. I think for us today, I'm going to just use overlay and see how that feels. If I hit that eyeball, you can see how much punchier this looks, like especially in her eyes, like they really punch through the haze with just a bit more sharpening. Now, if you've not cleaned up all of your dust marks, if you've not cleaned up all of these little areas with little bits of dust and imperfections, the sharpening is going to accentuate those. It's going to make them punch out even more obviously. So that's the reason why you want to do the sharpening very last. Don't go back and try to fix something that you missed. Like, sharpening is the final step. The other thing you can do on the sharpening, if it seems a little too intense to you, is you can modify the opacity of your sharpening layer. So I'll take this to maybe 74%, just a little bit less. And that feels pretty good without being over the top. Once I've done that, I am going to save this. As a JPEG. So this is my sharpen.jpg. Hit save. Okay. So now I have a JPEG version. And the last thing I'm going to do is I want to put both my original and my edit next to each other in the same canvas. So to do this, I'm going to go to, I'm going to select over my entire picture and hit Command Copy, because I know it's going to land in my new, in my final submission here. I'm going to go to File, New, And what's great about Photoshop is it's going to realize I've already selected out, exactly the width and the height. And here I want to double the width. So if my current width is 2329, that means that I can calculate 2329 times 2, which equals 4658, which is going to be double the width of my original. So this is my, Contag, JaNae, Tech X3, or Tech X2 actually, photo restoration. And I'm going to hit create. And now, if I hit Command V, oh, I see what I did. Command Z. I didn't hit copy merged. So I need to make sure I hit edit, copy merged. So it doesn't just grab the weird one. Here we go. And now I can pull this over to the side. And I'm going to open my original cabinet card 4. Hold on, not new document, file open. I want to grab my original cabinet card 4. Here it is. No edits because we saved a new version. And I'm going to Command C or edit copy merged and go over here so that we have both of these photos like right next to each other. And we can truly see the differences between them. And yours will be even more dramatic because you'll have had the chance to go through and get rid of all of the other spots and imperfections in whichever cabinet card you choose to work with. So now I can go to File, Save As. I'll save this as my Photoshop first. Or no, actually, I should just hit Command S because I have already set it up. Yep. Photo Restoration, Technical Exercise 2, just like how I set it up. And then File, Save As, and we are going to save it as a JPEG because this is the one you'll be submitting. So I'll hit Save. Okay. Perfect. And that's the one you'll turn in, and I look forward to seeing the work that you do in our advanced layering and image sizing and advanced layering, compositing, color correction curves, layer masks, lots of different skills to be taken away from this project. I know it's tedious and it's a little bit of Photoshop boot camp, but I think you'll be feeling a lot more confident with the program and the tools that you have at your disposal working in Photoshop after you complete this. Of course, if you are working with a card and you run into a really rough spot, a really difficult problem, please send me an email and let me know. And I'm happy to help you work through that project or that problem creatively. So good luck and have fun hanging out with dead people, right? Thanks, guys.